Welcome back! Let me guess. You heard that there was a new caravan in. Interesting, huh? Well, I'm sure we can fill out the roster that you've lost in the adventures between our last meeting. Let's see who's around the bar, shall we? Cutting to the front of the line, we have the swashbuckler, swordsman extraordinaire, and wielders of panache. The more bravado they act with in combat, the flashier their moves become, the more damage they deal, and the more explosive their final finishing attack can be. Their style allows them to dictate what gives them this panache, whether it be performing, intimidating, deceptions and feints, overall athleticism, diplomacy to have a couple of snarky one-liners, or the new rascal, creating devious tricks to throw their opponents off guard. What the swashbuckler has in versatility and overall flair, he lacks versus enemies with critical and precision immunity, as well as crowds. He is a one-man show, and he prefers his audiences to be the same. Emotions and rage fuel the battlefield, more for the barbarian than anyone else. The barbarian is the strongest class when it comes to number of hit points at their level, as well as their rage allowing them to lose themselves in battle, boosting their attack and speed. What type of rage is entirely dependent on what their instinct is, whether they feel animalistic or draconic instincts, plain stone-cold fury, the guiding hand of their ancestors' spirits, or the massive might of an oversized giant weapon. The barbarian is unparalleled in being able to deliver sheer raw damage, both from them and to them. As such, they might find themselves a little lost when their sword is not drawn. What good is an unstoppable force without an immovable object? The champion is a paragon of their faith, allowing their cause and their deity to work in unison to come up with how knightly they will act. An unmitigated, unparalleled tank. The champion is able to use their unique reaction to force the enemy to lose some of the damage on a successful hit, as well as follow up with either a string of debuffs or counterattacks, depending on the cause they choose. Much like the cleric, the sanctification of your champion is very important to the deity you choose, as well as what options for cause you have. When they lined up to come talk to you, there was one who did all of the calculations first. Not first to be the most prominently displayed, not last to stay last in your mind, exactly calculatedly perfectly in the middle. That is the investigator's way. These detectives and sleuths allow themselves to see the battlefield as a massive game board, knowing when and where to strike and how to act. An intelligence-based martial, these individuals are unparalleled in their number of skills and skill feats known, and find themselves being a little bit of a know-it-all at all times. With the ability to devise a stratagem in the middle of combat, rolling a die and then choosing whether they want to use it as a strike or a skill, it allows them to calculate and be several moves ahead. How and what methodologies they use varies between whether they wish to be more alchemically inclined and borrow from one of our soon-to-be-met friends, as well as empirical or interrogation-based tactics. These are the ones who will crack the case, find the answers, and leave no stone unturned. But they do need their friends at their side, because an investigator finds himself lacking a little bit in combat beyond his strategic strikes on his strategically devised target. The old saying goes that some were born great, and that is where sorcerers stop it completely. Their blood boils with magical potency from a variety of sources. This source allows them access to all 4 spellcasting traditions, depending on where they are getting their blood from. Their sorcerous potency allows them to increase the amount of damage or healing done on any ranked spell they cast. Some, like my friend here, are a little bit more of the diabolic side, allowing them to focus on divine, while others can claim blood from elemental, dragons, the Fae, and more. Sorcerers have unparalleled access to damaging spells and effects, but find themselves as frail as the witch and wizard, as well as a little less versatile than those two, as they are spontaneous casters instead. Ah, yes. A worthy addition to any party. This is a monk, someone who has honed their body to be a living weapon, eschewing armor and weapons naturally. The monk tends to rely on martial arts and overall mobility to allow themselves distinction on the battlefield. With their signature flurry of blows and access to chi, allowing them supernatural abilities, these masters of body and mind find themselves using and adopting the stances of different elemental objects or animals to further augment and define how their fighting styles work. You will find none better with their unarmed combat and experts of unarmed defense. But what the monk has in combat, they might find themselves struggling to find hobbies outside of their own particular pursuits of physical perfection. Some take to prize fighting, and it works wonders for them. My dear patron, I have saved these last 2 because they are special cases. This unique individual is an oracle. He is bound by the mysteries and revelations of his past to know more than he is meant to. A spontaneous divine caster. Instead of getting his powers from the gods or the deities of the world, he finds himself tied to a singular revelation, a mystery of sorts, that as he is able to access them and tap into a deep wellspring of power, it unfortunately requires of him as well. The Oracle's curse is their unique mechanic. They suffer a penalty as they do and expend greater and going beyond and further than any other class of their power level could. This expense, though, is great and uniquely tied to what kind of mystery they have, whether it be long-standing debuffs to their attributes, weakness to certain types of magic or effects, or a decrease to saving throws. The Oracle must suffer for their art. But many could say that of a great deal of people. If you want someone who is willing to gamble it all on a single all-out do-or-die attack, you will find no one better riding the whims of fate than an oracle. Which brings us to our final patron of the night. This, my friends, is a supplier of great goods, an alchemist, an unparalleled master of knowing how and when to procure the right item and tool for the job. While he is technically not a caster, his formula book of alchemical tinctures, elixirs, mutagens, and bombs makes him a very close parallel to our friend the wizard. His advanced alchemy allows him to prepare these items similarly to how a wizard would at the start of his day, and versatile vials function almost like focus points, coming back as he travels outside of combat. His research field greatly defines what an alchemist can do, with bombers allowing themselves a variety of elemental damage, chirurgeons allowing for healing and the ability to throw healing vials towards their allies and friends without the threat of further harm of a glass bottle coming at your head. A mutagenist allows them to drink of the powerful effects without suffering some of the drawbacks for a short duration of time, and a toxicologist is a master of poison, The amount of complexity and options for this class are great, but if you can find someone who is willing to ride the chaos of knowing exactly how to brew the perfect vial, an alchemist is a valuable companion. And I know that was a bit more people than we are used to seeing in a single caravan, but if they all decided to arrive at once, who am I to deny them the ability to be seen at once? Jokes and shenanigans aside, these have been the 8 new classes introduced in Pathfinder 2nd Edition's Player Core 2. If any of them seemed interesting, or if you want to know more, go ahead and check it out, or leave a comment down below and we can chat about them as much as you'd like. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed the video and you have a wonderful day.